Thank you. Good evening. Welcome to the Board of Trustees work session for April 17, 2023. We left off, we were working on the budget. We went through all the departments and Ms. Mills has handed us a change.
It's not changed, stand on. You can take like both ones. So over the weekend, trustee, actually this morning, trustee Henry emailed me a news article where New York City was raising its ambulance rates. And that can only be done at certain times. And so I checked on it this afternoon to see if, or this morning, to see if we were in that window where we could do the same thing. And I was advised by our consultants that we could. So what I provided you is this would be a resolution to go along with adopting the budget with the other fees. It's a resolution establishing the ambulance charges effective May 1st, 2023. And the BLS charge would be $1,160 with a mile charge of 20. And the current rate is, I believe, $9.95 and 15. And this is the rate that we could go to and still be compliant with what we're doing with our collections. So I'm recommending that be added to the budget. And I emailed that resolution 2 seconds ago to you, trustee Henry, so you can see it.
Yes, I got it. Thank you.
$20 a month.
Yeah, it's currently 15.
Trustee Henry, any questions, comments on the budget?
Yes, Mayor, I had two things. I wonder if there's any possibility we can accommodate the fire department with their request for the thermal imaging cameras. They have a grant for $90,000, but for reimbursement, if we're able to, we'll have to put out the 90 originally though. And the other thing was, well, we can look into granting overtime for the highway and water foreman versus having them be salaried.
Please.
On the fire item, that's already in the budget.
Well, I didn't see it. I'm sorry, Mike. I didn't see it.
I have it in as an expenditure
Okay.
in the capital. So we would expend it from there, and then I have a matching revenue coming in, so there's no impact on the budget.
Okay, good.
On the overtime issue that you just brought up. It would kind of not sound like a broken record, but sound like one. I've said for a long time that our policy reads overtime, not comp time. And that reads, and I can tell you when I came here 20 years ago, the practice was comp time and it's always been comp time for the salaried personnel. But the employee handbook, the current one, as well as the new draft one, explains in better detail who is eligible and not eligible, and it says overtime payment at 1.5 hours with the option of comp time. So past practice has been only comp time, but our policy as well as the law is overtime. That would apply to everyone, basically except for me. Sorry, Steve. Steve and the elected officials. So that would potentially have a major budget impact to it. What exactly that is, off the top of my head, I don't know. I would believe that I could probably cover it within contingency. But then at the same time, if we were to do that, and I'm recommending that you do just to be compliant with the law, now that, you know, it's come to light, that it's gonna have to be regulated and monitored a whole lot more than it is now for everyone. And then we have the issue of what do we do with current comp time? Do we pay that out? Do we pay part of that out? And I think that would be a discussion that we would have individually with some of the board members, because, I mean, with the board members as well as department heads, because off the top of my head, I don't know what that impact is right now.
So you're confident enough that if we go forward with this budget, you could at least pay for it if it.
Yeah.
Okay. Thank you. Trustee Henry, anything else?
No, that's it. Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you. Trustee Crawford. Thank you.
Oh, wait, just one other thing. I think that we should add something in the budget that we can't, like on some of the line items, like the entertainment comes to mind, that we shouldn't pay anybody before the board agreed to the budget for that. And this way you don't get into the situation where, well, the person's already been paid, now we can't, now it's the person's canceled. I would rather know how much it's gonna cost us up front, and everybody's agreed to it, and we voted on it, and then pay the check. And then go ahead and do that.
Definitely more of this.
This is,
Yeah, so we start June. Planning this in January. I'll tell us.
So that's
June.
what I-
Right, that's what I mean, so I wish we were in January. We can have it. Next up, Trustee Evans.
Thank you, sir. When my colleagues at the last meeting modified the line item, for celebration, I think on the record, opposed to that increase. And justification wise, when we look at Ardsley, the celebrations line item is 21,000, we look at Feasting, it's 50,000, the Dobbs Ferry is 32,000, we look at Irvington, it's 51,000, we look at Tarrytown, it's 20,812. I fail to see how or what we're doing that requires triple the budget or the next highest village. To increase that line item by $50,000, and there's a lack of youth programming in our community, a lack of cultural events. I can't justify it. In terms of the increased line item for the seniors, if I'm understanding correctly, the reimbursement is based upon seniors attending, is that correct?
Right, in other words, for example, the first casino trip that we have coming up Monday, 55 people would pay for the bus and full, and we have 58. So what we do is we have to expend it as an expenditure, and then we collect the money, we collect the $30 a head, and have the income is on the income side too.
If it's my understanding, you've always operated that way previously, correct?
Yes and no, except we never fill the bus. So the bus would never be reimbursed.
So when I'm looking at this line item in terms of all the units, it requires X amount of people to attend though in order for it to, in essence, either be revenue neutral or produce a profit, correct? So in my mind, I've got to see some level of data that's up. That alteration that justifies that increase, right? So I've got to see some level of signing sheets to see like, all right, we actually have X amount of individuals attending this, or X amount of individuals attending that event to even be able to consider doing something that is based off of a what if, or a hope or an assumption. There's got to be something to support that. And I would just need to see that data with signing sheets. And we're giving someone.
It's very good thinking because we started that from day one. And part of the county's requirement to get fully funded for next year, they want to see attendance sheets.
I don't know. Yeah.
So
I'm
we
just
went
thinking.
from, we went from 4 on Wednesdays to 25. And during the other events, we went from 10 to 40, like we had 43 today.
That's all.
Yes, so yes, you're 100% right. We've been documenting as we've submitted to the county for this way they'll pay for all the items. So
Thank you.
you're welcome. Trustee Lopez.
I don't have anything but questions.
You're sure?
No, the only other thing is which I provided to you, is the budget modification, which was talked about last week and what that impact was. You have that in front of you. That's the only other item that I have.
Council. Budget. Budget. Commissioner? No.
No.
All right, highway, order, IT. No. Trustee Henry, okay to, for the agenda?
Yes, sir.
Thank you. Trustee Coffee, agenda.
Yes,
Sorry
sir.
to the agenda, thank you. Trustee Evans, okay for the agenda? Yes. Trustee Lopez? Motion during the work session? All in favor? Vote carried.